Most High. All praise to the Most High that His word is true and that He's not a man that He should lie. That He says that He's a God that's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So we can trust His word and what He said is true. And it explains a lot. It explains a whole lot when it comes to the condition of our people. Why are we in this situation? Why does it seem like we can't get anything together? Why does it seem like all the mischief in the population is done by our people? And we know that it's not true, but it just seems that way. It seems like it doesn't matter how hard we try and push forward. It's like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. As a nation, as a people, not talking about individuals, because we do have individuals that make it out. But they have to do certain things to make it out, you understand? But listen, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28. This is the foundation chapter, one of them, most important chapters that identify who we are. It tells us who we are. We can find out who we are in this chapter. Now we know that there's others that'll come along and say, well, nah, that we don't know who that is, but that's not y'all. You understand? But after I read this chapter, look like we should all come to the understanding. You should be able to see it. So y'all just follow along with me real quick. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28. It says, and it shall come to pass, if thou wilt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all His commandments which He command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations upon the face of the earth. You're fighting for equality, but the Most High wants to set you on high above all nations on the face of the earth. Your goal is not the goal of the Most High. Look, it's clear as day. He said, it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all the commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And when I set you on high upon all the nations of the earth, all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. If you are hearkening unto the voice of the Lord thy God, blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the field. Blessed shall the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flock of thy sheep. Blessed shall thy basket and thy store. Listen, if our people wouldn't have turned their backs on the Most High God, these would be our blessings. And that's why we pray for the sins of our forefathers and our foremothers. Because they walked away from this, we find ourselves in the condition that we're in. So we ask the Most High God to forgive them. Forgive them for all their sinning, all their sins, their willfully sinning, their unwillingly sinning, their knowingly sinning, their spiritual adultery, spiritual fornication, ignorantly sinning. And we ask the same for our foremothers and for ourselves and for our children. Because this covenant is throughout all your generations, forever. According to this word that we're reading, this is forever. And as a church in this world tries to tell us that God's law is done away with. All of this that I'm reading is done away with. But how can you do away with forever? Forever. Say, blessed shall thou be, all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee. If, this little word, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shall thou be in the city, and blessed shall thou be in the field. When you go to the rich suburbs and all of that, that's blessings that the Most High says it's supposed to be for you. When you're riding through the countryside and you see the farmers in the big fields and there's corn and sugar cane and wheat and all rice and all this being grown, this is what we're reading. Verse 4. Blessed shall the fruit of thy body, mean your children will be blessings to you. Your children will be blessings to you. And the fruit of thy ground, the ground will produce for you. And the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind, and the flock of thy sheep. Blessed shall the basket and thy store. Meaning when you walk in the store, it is the freshest of the fresh. Blessed shall thou be when thou cometh in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goeth out. Meaning you're going to come into this life in a blessed situation, live your whole life in a blessed situation, and die blessed by God. Isn't that beautiful? If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Verse 7. The Lord shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. This is what's supposed to be for us, the children of Israel. But we don't know who we are. And because we don't know who we are, the blessings are far off from us. The Lord shall command the blessings upon thee in thy storehouse, and in all that thou settest thy hands to do. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And the Lord shall establish thee as a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt hearken unto keep the commandments. Look, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways. So they built a whole society, that there's a church established in the world to tell you and teach you that this is done away with. This doesn't stand anymore. But we're living it. We're in the cursed parts of the city. We're in the cursed neighborhoods. We're suffering the curses. And they're telling us, don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you feel. Don't believe the reality that you're living. Just walk around and say that you're blessed. You're blessed. You're blessed. Look what it says. And the Lord, look what it said. The Lord shall establish thee a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt hearken to the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods. Do we see ourselves plenteous in good? No. This was the blessing side of it, but we know that our people chose to go against this, and we're suffering the other side. But this is the promises of God that he wanted to give to us. Now, they make you think when you got a brand new car, you just bought a brand new house, and all these things and all your material things are the blessings of God. But listen. Debt is not a blessing. That's why we ask to forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. Debt is not a blessing. When you got that payment is coming around monthly, whether you have it or not. But when you get something from the Lord, it's free. Oh, he will give you the finances to where you'll feel like it's free. But check this out, man. The Lord shall make, look what it says, and the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods. He'll give you this if you follow his law, statutes, and commandments. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these other things shall come. He shall make you plenteous in goods. In the fruit of thy body, your children, in the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy ground, and in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee. And the Lord shall open unto thee his good treasures, the heavens, to give rain unto the land in its season, and to bless all the works of thy hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Lord shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou shalt hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. Listen. You want to know why they're trying to teach you that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with? So you can't receive that. Look what it says. That verse 13 again. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left hand, to go after other gods, to serve them. This God is making a deal with us. He's making a deal with our people. But we know from history that the children of Israel went against the Most High God's commandments, and they are suffering the curses today. The children of Israel, the whole house of Israel, are suffering the curses of God today because of our disobedience, because we walked away from the blessings, because our forefathers walked away from the commandments and God's law. And now we are in the world, and the world is teaching us that God's laws and commandments are done away with, and that we should walk in the newness of what they're giving us now. We're under grace. We don't have to do none of those things anymore. We don't have to do any of that anymore. That's what they're saying to us. But our God said if we would walk in his laws, statutes, the commandments, blessings would surround us and pursue us until they overtake us. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Isn't that what we're looking for? Isn't that what we want for our children? Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all the commandments and the statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Aren't we living in the cursed parts of the city? Murder, robbery, drugs, alcohol, adultery, fighting, contention, lying, coveting each other's wives, coveting each other's husbands, and the things in each other's yards. Poor people plotting against each other in the same neighborhood and in the same condition. It's because we know that our people, we're not following the law, statutes, and commandments of God. Just think of all the problems that would solve if we would just simply walk in His commandments. Immediately, our neighborhoods would be different. Immediately, if all our people would walk in His commandments. Wow. I mean, it's clear. Look verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all His commandments and His statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. On our people, wasn't our people cursed in the fields? You know, picking peas and cotton and sugar cane and rice and being lashed by the whip. Work from sunup to after dark with no pay, barely enough to survive. It says, cursed shall thy basket and thy stores. You ride through your neighborhoods and you see these little stores with fruit that certainly do not look fresh. Frozen goods that have been in the shelves for months. Items on the shelves that's been there. You can see the canned good with rust on the top of it. Cursed shall thou be, thy basket and thy stores. Man. Cursed shall the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flock of thy sheep. Look what it's saying. Your children, the fruit of your body, are your children, and your children are going to bring curses upon you. They're going to bring you misery. Because we're walking outside the law, statutes, and commandments of our God. Our children are bringing us misery. This is identifying who the children of Israel are. Cursed shall thou fruit of thy body. Our children killing each other in the streets, turning against their parents. All authority. And believing nothing, because we have walked so far away from the Most High God. And the fruit of thy land, we're not producing anything anymore. We have to go buy it now when we produced it. We're not doing any of that. And the increase of thy kind and the flock of thy sheep, we don't even, for the masses of our people, we don't even farm. We used to have gardens and we used to have livestock in our own yard and ate fresh. But now we go to the stores and we're GMO'd to death. Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou cometh in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goeth out. Meaning that you're going to be born into a cursed situation. You're going to live your whole life in that cursed situation. And you're going to die in a cursed situation. For walking against God, man. For walking against God. That's why we pray for our forefathers, man. And our foremothers and for ourselves. And we have to pray, man, that God has mercy on us, man. Forgive us and begin to walk in his law, statutes, and commandments. That's what repentance means. To turn away from the world and come back to this. But we have gatekeepers, we have so-called leaders, we have religious leaders all around the world doing Psalms 83, teaching us all this craziness so that we never understand who we are. And they're together in it. Psalms 83 said, keep not thy silence, O God, and hold not thy peace. For thy enemy has lifted up the head and made a tumult. They're coming against our hidden ones. They're confederate that the name of Israel be no more remembered. To keep us locked in this, they're doing that. The Lord, listen what it says, verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee curses, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thy hand to do, until thou be destroyed. You want to know why we can't ever get together and produce anything? We can't get together and do nothing. We even said it amongst ourselves. Black folks can't never get together and do nothing. You want to know why? The Lord shall send upon thee curses, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thy hands to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doing. What is the wickedness of our doing, Lord? Where thou hast forsaken me. We're forsaking the Most High God, man. And our people are living the curses. Just ride through your neighborhood, man, and you'll see it. Look around, you'll see it. They'll have you going to church talking about you're blessed, you're blessed, you're blessed. But you're living this and saying you're blessed in this. Verse 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he has consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. Seem like it doesn't matter what you do. You're trying to profit the land. You're trying to build it up. You're trying to get it together. But it just don't seem like everything is set against you. You take 5 steps forward and 10 steps backwards. As a people, we're doing this, and as individuals. Verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with inflammation, and with extreme burnings, and with sword, and with blastings and mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. This is an angry God. He's telling us, listen. As a matter of fact, no, he's not angry. He's laying the law down, and he's telling you, choose a side. And our people chose the wrong side. And now, we're the consumers of the world. We consume everything. They come out with a new beer today, our people are first to get it. Come out with a new alcohol, they buying it by the cases. Come out with a new drug, our people consume it first. And it kills us, killing us off. But we hollering about we're cursed. We're blessed. In the church, you're saying, I'm blessed in the city and blessed in the field. You're singing a song about being blessed. And then you leave the church and go back to your neighborhood. And you see this. You see this. one can explain it to you. No one is telling you what's going on. No. Verse 23. And the heaven that is over thy head shall be as brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be as iron. When our people was working the fields, when the so-called Mexicans, people from Honduras, and all the house of Israel working the fields, they're feeling this. And the heavens that is over thy head shall be as brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be as iron. You're going to work hard to make this earth produce, because you're sinning against the Most High God. Verse 24. And the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven it shall come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. Listen, in the blessings, he was going to open up the treasures and give us rain in due season. So everything that we need, the earth would bring forth and produce in abundance. Here it's telling you, it said, the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. It's not doing it to the whole world. Thy land powder and dust. And from the heavens it shall come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. Don't let people make you think that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with. And you see our people living this. And the ones who are telling us that it's all done away with, they're reaping the blessings. They're in the blessed neighborhoods. They got the big houses, the big cars, all the land, all the cattle, and all the blessings of the Most High. By default, they get it, but we break his law, statutes, and commandments. So that's why they build a society in the way they built it. They tell you, the Most High said, remember the Sabbath day and to keep it holy. From sundown Friday evening to sundown Saturday is the Sabbath. But society is built up where they give you your check. They work you hard all week and give you your check as the Sabbath day begins. And now you've been working hard. You go out, do your thing. The next day you gotta go. There's malls with sales everywhere, blowout sale here, this and that, to get you to come out and break the Sabbath and do all the things that the Most High God said not to do. You remember the sale, you remember the mall, you remember the games, you remember all these things, but you don't remember the Sabbath. And for that, and thy carcass, verse 26, and thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Don't you see that? Back in what you're calling the motherland, they show it to you on TV all the time, with people just dying, laying in the dust, birds eating, feeding off of them, and no one suffers to bury them. We live in this, man. Our people all across the world are living this. Verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botches of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scabs, and with itches, wherefore thou couldst not be healed. Our babies are walking around now with all these skin diseases, patches of dry skin here, whole patches there, and they can't be healed. They're trying everything. They can't be healed. Verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness, and with blindness, and astonishment of heart. That's where we sit at today. Our people are mad blind, not knowing what's going on. They're mad because they don't know what's going on, blind. And our hearts are astonished because we're like, how can I work all these hours and have so little? And the next man work so little and have so much. Verse 29, and thou shalt grope at the noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be oppressed only. Note, thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. So you're going to be going from doctrine to doctrine, understanding to understanding, church to church. You're going to leave the church, go to Islam. You're going to do all these things. You're groping, you're looking like a blind, feel around to find out where they are. It's midday. The sun is up, but you can't see. It says, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. Is the whole world oppressed and spoiled? Have the whole world been oppressed and spoiled? Or has Israel been oppressed and spoiled and conquered throughout the world? Says, no man shall save thee. Men throughout history have come to try to turn this thing around. But without the law, statutes, and commandments being taught to the people, no man can do what God gonna do. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Didn't that happen in slavery? Didn't that happen to our people in slavery? Didn't that happen when the conquistadors came conquering throughout the world and they were raping and pillaging our people? Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant vineyards, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thy oxen shall be slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Didn't that happen to our brothers and sisters, the tribe of Gad here in America? Where the buffaloes, the oxen, were slain before their eyes. Kill off the buffalo and you kill off the people, they said. Slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thy ass shall be violently taken away before thy face, and thou shalt not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. When they came conquering, pillaging, putting people under their foot, if you had sheep, cattle, anything, they took it and gave it to their troops. They didn't care what happened to you. This is what we're living through. This is what we have lived through, and this is what we're living through. And there are leaders who are telling us that this is done away with, but we're living the situation right now. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Did that happen to everybody? On a biblical proportion, did that happen to everybody? Or did it happen to the house of Israel? The whole house of Israel. Not just the southern tribes, the whole house of Israel. When they went throughout the islands of the sea and came out to the western world conquering, the people became spoiled for the conquerors. And a lot of them were enslaved and brought back to the old world and went through slavery just like us here in this land. So this tells us who we are, because the whole world didn't go through that. But it says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. All praise to the Most High that His word is true and that He's not a man that He should lie. Look what it says, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. Didn't that happen to our people? Didn't that happen to our people? Didn't you see it when you watch Roots? When they were selling Kizzy away and the mother and father was begging, Master, don't give our child away. And they put her on the back of the wagon and drove her off. And they were looking, longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thy hand. There was no might in their hand to stop what was happening. All the house of Israel went through this. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and cursed and crushed always. Is the whole world oppressed? Have the whole world been oppressed and crushed? So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thy eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with sore botches that cannot be healed, sugar diabetes. From the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. Once they start cutting and cutting, they can't stop cutting because they can't get you healed. This is from the Lord, man. This is not from Esau. This is not from Moab. This is not from none of the other people. This is from the Lord. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou set over thee, unto a nation where neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods made of wood and stone. Haven't we been brought to a nation? And it didn't matter what king we would set over ourselves. It didn't matter what king the Most High was. This was going to happen anyway because of our disobedience. So He brought our kings and us unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shall thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Our people was brought from another land to here. And some of our people were brought from here to another land, where they didn't know the language, didn't know the speech. And there, they served other gods made of wood and stone. And here, they serve other gods made of wood and stone. What is the wood? Sunday worship at the cross. And what is the stone? Islam, Allah with the Kaaba stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all nations, where the Lord shall lead thee. So we're mad for what happened, but the Lord put us here because of our disobedience. We want vengeance, but we won't take vengeance for this disobedience. Pray for your forefathers. Ask for forgiveness for them. Pray for your foremothers and ask for forgiveness for them. Pray for yourselves and for your children and ask for forgiveness from the Most High God. And return to this word right here. Verse 37. Thou shalt become an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee. They looking at you saying, look at these people, man. How great they are. They're the best at everything they do. They're so agile, so athletic, so brainy, so God conscious. What happened to them? How did they fall so far and become what they are now? That's an astonishment in the Proverbs. Proverbs, because all of them have a name for us. Among all nations with the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locusts shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards. Now listen, it's not talking about just locusts, flying locusts. As the further we're going to get down, we're going to see who the locusts are. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. We're going to show you who the worms are. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thy olives shall cast its fruit. Like I said, you're going to be in a rich land with everything that you need around you. You're going to be doing the work, but you're not going to prosper for it. Verse 41. Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Thou shalt have sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Did not people go into captivity? Their children be born in captivity? And now our people are going back into captivity in the prisons and in the jail systems for breaking the very laws that the Most High said to follow. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill or commit adultery. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field. You gonna work the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locusts shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grape, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thy oil shall cast its fruit. Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. And all the trees and the fruits of thy land shall the locusts consume. Who is the locust? The locust? The stranger that's within thy gates. The stranger that's within thee. That's the locust. The stranger, verse 43, that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. And he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. This is why they teach you that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with, so they can remain the head, and you could be wagging in the back like the tail. Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, until thou be destroyed. Why is this happening, Lord? Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he command thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So when you're reading these curses, and you look around and see the people that are living under these curses, it shall be upon thee for a sign. What does a sign do? A sign tells you what you're dealing with, where you're going, what you're dealing with. It describes a thing. It names something. It identifies something. And a wonder. We wonder why it's on us. We wonder why this sign is on us. And it's not just with us. If we don't stop it here, it'll be upon our seed forever. How do you stop it? We have to serve the Lord thy God, man. We have to serve the Lord thy God and walk in his ways, his will, and his word. And leave these strange gods behind that say that you can do anything that you want and make it into their kingdom. That's Satan. I'm sorry, that's Satan. These signs will be on us because of disobedience. Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. All the stuff he wanted to give you in the first 14 verses. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. What? He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle fly, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Did this happen to everybody? Did this happen to everybody? Or did this happen to the house of Israel? The whole house of Israel. The southern tribes were in the old land, Israel, Africa, were fled into Africa. And the Lord, verse 49, shall bring a nation against thee. The Lord brought a nation against thee from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose tongue you didn't know and did not understand. And our brothers and sisters from the northern tribe was over here in the western world. And the Lord brought a nation against them from far, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose tongue they did not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which should not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And look at this locust. He shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn or wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or the flock of thy sheep, until he's destroyed thee. He's taking everything. He's taking everything. Taking so much till now you gonna call him your friend because you gotta go to him to get anything. So you bow down to him. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates. until thy high and fenced-in walls come down. Here's our destruction. Wherein thou trusted, we didn't trust in the Lord, we trusted in our high fenced-in walls throughout all thy land. And he besieged thee in all thy gates throughout all thy lands, which the Lord thy God has given thee. And while they're eating, the locusts eating the fruits of our labor, look what it says you're going to eat. Verse 53, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord God has given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherein thy enemies shall distress thee. They surrounded Masada, cut off all goods and services coming into this. So they couldn't store up anything else. They couldn't bring anything new in because they were surrounded completely. So after all the food inside the city was gone, the people began to turn on each other. The young and strong turned on the old. The old tried to fend for themselves and hide things, hide food here and there, and they came in. And instead of our people getting together and saying we can sustain ourselves if we just follow God, we turned on each other. And what happened when we turn on each other? Thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the fruit of thy son and the fruit of thy daughter, which the Lord thy God has given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, where thy enemies shall distress thee. And now once again, it's still happening today. Because we are distressed and we are destroying each other as families. We're turning our backs on our children. Our children's turning their backs on their fathers and mothers. We're destroying, we're eating up our own substance. We're consuming ourselves. Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give unto them any of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat. Listen, this is the condition that they're going to push you into. We were pushed into this condition because of disobedience. Because he is nothing left in the siege after everything was gone. All what you're storing up in your storehouses today, that in this end time, if you don't have God, once all that's gone, then what? So that he will not give them the flesh of his children, because he has nothing left in the siege, and in the straitness wherein thy enemies shall distress in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set a sole of her feet upon the ground for delicateness. She's too good for that, and tenderness. Her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. She too good for all of it. Listen, we get vain in our imaginations and begin to think we're what we're not. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear the glorious and fearful name of the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of the long continence and sore sickness, and of long continence. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and and they shall cleave unto thee. See, when you're trusting in God, you don't, and doing his will and his way and his word, as a people, we wouldn't have to go through this. But now you see our people riding around with masks on in a car, with a mask on by themselves in the car. Because they still don't trust the Lord thy God, man, for the abundance of all things. So then the Lord will make the plagues wonderful, verse 59. And the plagues on thy seed even greater, and of long continence, of sore sickness, and long continence. Don't you see that happening today? Because we're still not following the Most High God. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of. You're afraid. You're afraid. You're riding around in a car by yourself with a mask on, thinking you're gonna die from the diseases and plagues that the Lord sent. And they shall cleave unto thee. And also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of the law, them will the Lord bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in numbers, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. You're obeying men that are telling you not to obey this. And they're telling you that the God that they serve, you don't have to do none of these things. But no man can serve two masters. Either you're going to do this or you're not. Either you're going to do this or you're not. And we haven't been doing it. And we find ourselves here as a people, as a nation, the whole house of Israel. And also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law. COVID-19. Them will the Lord bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in numbers. You see our numbers getting few. From all our sinning, our willfully sinning, our knowingly sinning, our unknowingly sinning. We're making choices, our people are making choices where they can't come back from. Few in numbers, because thou wilt not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over thee to do good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from the land where thou goest to possess it. Live in it. We're saying we're not living it. We live in it. All the curses we're living. And we're going to a church, and the church is telling us to tell ourselves we're blessed. The Lord, verse 64. We get mad at Esau, we get mad at all the nations of the world. But the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods. Why, Lord? Why would you do this? Because thou servest not the Lord thy God. We don't want to do this, so we have to do what we're doing now. We're serving other gods in foreign lands, foreign to our spirit, foreign to our God. The Lord shall scatter thee among all people. That's what happened in slavery. The Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth and to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease. Are you finding ease in this nation? And among these nations shall find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. For the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, a failing of eyes and a sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. We're living in this society, following their laws, and then we see these blue lights coming up behind us. No, you ain't done nothing wrong, but you still get that trembling in your heart because you know this could go real bad if you get pulled over. They could tell you, put your hands up, don't move, and then tell you to get your license. And because you move to get your license, you get shot, and the officer that shoots you gets acquitted. A trembling of mind, trembling of heart, a failing of eyes, and a sorrow of mind. We don't understand what's happening because no one is telling us this is what's happening. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. Lawyers, doctors of the children of Israel, prominent people, getting treated like common trash. Got all the successes of life, but it comes down to it, you're no better than the rest. Verse 67, in the morning thou shalt say, with God it were evening, and in the evening thou shalt say, with God it were morning, for the fear of thy heart wherein thou shalt fear. Things are so bad in our neighborhoods. Sometimes we like, man, I can't wait till it get dark because so these people can go home and just get away from around here so this can stop. And then at night, it gets so bad, we like, Lord, I can't wait till the sun come up so I can see, at least I can see this craziness. Verse 68. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. And this is the one right here that confuses the people. There's no history of the Israelites ever going back into Egypt. No, but we're in this new Egypt. Egypt means bondage. You go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. He says, I am the Lord thy God that brought thee out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Egypt means bondage. Now let's read it. And the Lord shall bring thee into bondage again with ships by the way whereof I have spoken unto thee. All what I just read. Thou shalt see it no more again, your homeland. And there ye shall be sold to your enemies. No, man, you're going to be sold to your friends. You shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. How can you be sold and not bought? How can they make you not see this statement right here? Because they're telling you this is done away with, and this ain't you. Even if you read this, they're telling you this ain't you. But we were brought into Egypt. We were brought into bondage again with ships. The same way he said it was going to happen. And we didn't see our homeland anymore. And we as a people was sold for bondmen and bondwomen. And it says, no man shall buy you. Malcolm, it said, no man shall buy you. That means to be redeemed. Martin tried. Malcolm tried, Harriet tried, Nat Turner tried, and many, many others tried. But no one can redeem us. No one can redeem us. No one can redeem us. Because Christ is our Redeemer. He's coming to bring your kingdom bring your salvation if you follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. That's Deuteronomy 28. And they'll tell you that this is all done away with. But I'm going to give you something else for when they say that. Just give me a second. Bear with me a second. Just want to show you something. Let's go to Revelation.